صلوات على محمد وعلى محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا حبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا وشفيع ذنوبنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد. وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين واللعنة الدائمة لأعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى لقاء يوم الدين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. May Allah bless you all. Alhamdulillah, tawfiq to be together again. Another important night, another lesson inshallah from the path of Islam and the teachings of Ahlul Bayt inshallah together. So tell me, those who remember, I know it's been 2 weeks since our last session, but what was the topic that we were talking about? Self-awareness. Alhamdulillah, mashallah. One of the good students we have, mashallah, all the time. Great. So, what did we... Is it? Oh, I didn't see it. Self-awareness tips. So you missed that part.
You have to use brain also.
Brain, mashallah. So, what did we talk about self-awareness so far? Who remembers? Something good, huh?
Yeah, who attended?
Don't worry about this. Anything comes to your mind, tell me.
The definition,
Definition of?
self-awareness,
What was that?
it's like thinking about yourself, your actions, feel the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, self-reflection, self-diagnosis, be aware of wrong and right behavior.
Good, good. So, we mentioned that in order to improve self-improvement, we need to the first step to be aware of ourselves, right? It is impossible that specifically in this path you have improvement without being aware of you, diagnosing yourself, what's going on with you, who you are, what you're good at, what are your deficiencies, right? Therefore, we mentioned, to go quickly review, about few facts regarding the those tips that help us to have to reach self-improvement. Why this turned off? That helped us to, inshallah, reach self-improvement. So, and we have to pay attention to these steps. So far, we mentioned, I think, 2 or 3 of them. So, inshallah, we're going to continue right after you can see the screen, inshallah. Okay. So, remember, we mentioned that the first step towards being aware of yourself is that you be awake, you be aware, technically. You be in this path. You understand that you want to technically and actually step towards this path. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Good. We mentioned there are a few steps that we have to follow. Number 1, we mentioned about yaqظة. That means you just be aware of yourself. You have to know, just in general, as you are doing it, you're being aware that you want to have self-improvement and you're trying to achieve self-awareness. After being awake is start thinking and pondering upon yourself, your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, anything related to you and Allah. And we mentioned the one who is going to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, anything in this world will become a secret for him or her. They start thinking, even why we have nights and days and nights, why we have this way, why these things are happening in my life. For someone who is a neglectful person, any happenings in life is just randomly, accidentally is happening. For the one who is a divine person, anything happening to their lives, they know there is a reason by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If it's not their own problems, if it's not their own laziness, procrastination, that's a different situation, right? I do everything, I'm trying to do everything, so something happens to me without being my fault. that a shortcoming from me. I know that there is a message that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is trying to give me. It can be all of a sudden, for example, financial difficulties and situation happens to me. I've seen many people with specific financial deficiencies help them to get back to the right path sometimes. Sometimes they're going too far, forgetting about their responsibilities, So thinking and pondering is very important. And then we talked about azm. Now that you think, you have to make a decision, right? And that's what we talk about. If you close that door, I appreciate it. Azm means the decision that you have in this path, that I am going to take this path. I'm going to have self-improvement. I'm going to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We talked about this, that this is technically the first practical step towards irfan. And it has absolutely different levels as you see here, and we talked about it. So I'm not going to talk a lot about this. We mentioned this before. I'm just reviewing. That was the third step. The fourth step, we called it musharata. That means you promise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which this level started at the beginning of your day, right in the morning, that you are aware of yourself, you're thinking about this whole path, and it's not just a moment. You are totally in this path. You are, sometimes they said if you want to learn a new language, you have to be involved with that new language all the time. Be involved with that. So you're involved with the whole topic here, that I'm going to improve myself. And you start your day with what? Musharata. With promising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the beginning of your day, that I am promising you, I'm going to be aware of myself. I'm going to get away from haram. I'm going to do all the wajibat that I'm supposed to do. I'm trying to watch my behavior, watch my actions, watch the way that I talk, right? So sometimes you have in your calendar what you want to do during the day. You know your schedule. So you have to know this schedule to improve yourself at the beginning of the day, and you have to pay attention to it. Alright, so after you promise, you need something to help you throughout the day. We're making it practical. Throughout the day, something should help me to stay with the promise that I made with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that condition and shart that I made with Him. I said, I'm going to improve myself. I'm going to watch myself in this way. I have to have a mechanism to help me here. And that's what we call it muraqabah. Muraqabah, you heard a lot. That I am watching myself, that self-guard, that I know that constantly I have to be aware and watch myself. Muraqabah. Have you seen a little baby? The little babies, parents all the time watch them. Even when they get a little bit older, all the time. If something is dangerous around them, all the time. If something happens to them, is whose fault? Parents, right? If something happens to me, it's my fault that I did not take care of myself. I was not aware of myself. If I have anger and I lose my temper, right? If I talk to someone not nicely, if I did something wrong, if it's haram, if something I was supposed to do, it's all my fault that I was not guarding myself, that I was not protecting myself in this. I was not watching myself. This is where we always say, how many times a day you think about your improvement in this aspect, the spiritual aspect. How much of your day you spend to think about your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That famous hadith says, "Hasabu qabla an tuhasabu." Think and start, being aware of all these things. And that's for the next level as well. But before someone else is going to come and take care of your amal, you take care of your amal yourself. What that means if I have a deficiency, I know I have anger management issue. What I'm supposed to do, I have to be aware of this the whole day. That I know maybe today I would have an issue here. Maybe I should be careful. I'm talking to my wife, to my husband, to my brother, sister. I have to be careful. Maybe something going on today and I lose my temper. If you have a deficiency, you know where you have to focus more, right? Imam Ali salatu wasalam mentioned, make yourself actually a guard for yourself. Who's better than you? You are with yourself all the time. Go to that level, to that stage that you keep watching your own amal. How many people, they do something wrong, they don't even realize that that was wrong? How many people, they do wrong, and after a while they realize that was wrong? How many people, they do something wrong, they need someone else come and tell them that was wrong? How many people, they do something wrong, they should see the consequences to say, oh, that was wrong? How many people, without any help, as soon as if they do something wrong, they realize it themselves and do tawbah and get back to the right path? The more this nafs is alert by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by being close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the faster this nafs would realize that was wrong or right. The further away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that they are watching themselves, they want to. A watchful person, if you want to, muraqabah, raqabah comes from raqabah. Raqabah means neck. You know why they call it muraqabah? Have you seen this bodyguards? When there is an official somewhere, you know what do they do usually? What do? They watch like this, right? They use their neck, keep watching all the time. If anything suspicious, right? They're watching all the time, watchful. If you want to be careful with yourself, you have to keep watching, right? This is taqwa. You have to keep, was it okay? Was not okay? You know those sensitive jobs? They always supervise everything. There's no chance for a mistake. Right? Because that's a sensitive job, right? Keep watching, keep analyzing it. So you should be aware of yourself if you want to do this. Once you made your decision, you promised Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now throughout the whole time, you should watch yourself and follow your promise. Okay, it's very important to promise musharata at the beginning of your day, right? Maybe before or after your salat al-fajr, you say, Allah, this is what I'm going to promise you, I'm going to be this way. Tell me one of the reasons that we have dua ahd in the morning, right? In the morning, we have dua ahd for Imam Muhammad. And mention that if you keep reciting this dua in the morning, Fajr, 40 times, you will be resurrected at the time of the zuhur. You will be with the Imam. Even if you're dead, Allah will give you the tawfiq to come back to this dunya and be with Imam. Part of this dua, when you recite, you see that he keeps saying, I refresh my allegiance with you. Every single day, I refresh my allegiance with you. Meaning what? Meaning every day I have to what? Keep thinking about what I'm going to do. Who am I in allegiance with? Whose satisfaction is important for me? Right? That's why every day is important. And I have to watch that promise that I made. Maybe your son, your daughter, someone else, if they promise you they want to do something, you might remind them. By the way, don't forget what you promised me. Don't forget, you keep giving a reminder, right? Anything comes to you during this time to break this promise is from what? Either shaitan, external factor, or internal, your nafs. Don't think that's easy. As soon as you promise to take this step and get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you're getting stronger. Shaitan is getting stronger as well. Shaitan would attack you way stronger and heavier than what he was doing before. Make sure you get away from them. Make sure you recognize. That means you should recognize all those, steps that Shaitan would put in front of you to actually put you down, to make sure you can't make it, And he's very cunning, is the best way that he can do. He comes, find a way to destroy you. Let me tell you what. Someone, I'm going to say it very briefly. Someone talked to me and he said that, yeah, I'm taking all these steps and alhamdulillah, I'm trying my best. And he told me about something that he wanted to help someone else, a lady, that they were not mahram. I wanted to help him help her to take these steps as well. Look what happened. She was in a difficult situation. I wanted to help her to get out of that depression. So I tried to get closer to her. I was like, wait a minute. You were in touch with non-mahram to help her to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You justified that relationship, haram relationship. You see how shaitan comes? But if I was not there, she would be so depressed. Excuse me. That doesn't justify that you be in a non-okay relationship to you see what I'm saying? How shaitan comes. You reach that level, now you have to go help someone else. Go help a brother while you're helping a sister. You see how shaitan comes and justifies it for you. anything that is, you see that is against this path, anything would cause you and force you to break your promise, you have to what? You have to recognize and get away from it. When it comes to anger, I said that before. I tell my clients, first figure out any external factors that would cause you to lose your temper. Some people says, when I'm hungry, I'm usually getting angry faster. Some people says, when I'm tired, I get angry faster. Some people said, if I hear those sentences and words, I get angry. Make sure you diagnose those things as soon as possible, get away from them, right? Whatever you can. Then we go to internal aspects. Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam says, this is a doctrine of ibadah. Look at this. This hadith is a doctrine of worship. O Abu Dharr, Rasulullah is telling him, worship Allah as if you see Him. Worship as He's in front of you. And if you weren't seeing Him, you should know that surely He sees you. If I believe the dua time, if I believe outside when I'm walking outside, I believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching me. Remember that example of cameras, I believe there is a camera, I definitely make sure that I don't do something wrong because it's being recorded, right? Now that I'm talking in front of this camera, I might just be more careful, what I'm saying, what. If there's no camera, I might do something else. If I see there's a little baby, I might just be careful not to do those things that might not be okay, right? But if I see that Allah, Rasulullah is saying, worship Allah the way that He is seeing you. Okay, that you are seeing Him. If you don't see Him, but He's seeing you. He's watching you. That's about muraqabah. That's about keep watching. Like that bodyguard all the time. Alright, so now I need your help to tell me to be watchful and be aware and trying to guard ourselves against what? In what area? Tell me some of those threats and risks that might force me or cause me to break my shart and promise with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Help me with those things. What kind of things those can be? Desires. Can you give me some examples? Like what?
Desire of mom, desire of position.
Hubb dunya, the position. Hubb dunya, you want to justify for yourself, I just have a very important meeting. I go, inshallah, I'll pray after. Right after that, I promise. It's not going to be qaza yet, of course, But, yeah, you have time. Let me tell you what, when it's the time of azan, doesn't mean you have to delay it. That means you have a time to pray, but you already missed the time. The time is awwal waqt, waqt al-fadila, right? When you miss the fadila waqt, that means, alright, you can do whatever you want. You still have time. Just do your homework. You were supposed to, but sometimes come just with. What else? What other factors you see that we have to be careful in watching?
Distractions.
Ahsan, what kind of distractions?
Games, for example. Super Bowl Sunday.
Very interesting. Very interesting. What if the whole community, what if the whole culture are doing it?
Well, we are responsible for ourselves.
Would that be possible that it's still distraction? Most probably. That's actually a good sign. If a lot of people are doing it, believe me, that's a distraction from that side. But a person who is in this path, doesn't matter if I have a test tomorrow, I have to stay and study, right? I don't care if everybody is watching something else, I have to study. I am careful, I watch, make sure those things that are distracting me from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Oh. What else?
Laziness.
Laziness. How? How is it going to?
Like the time of adhan is, say, 12 o'clock, but you don't pray till 4 o'clock.
Lazy people will never stay with their promises, right? Would always break their promises. I'll do it later, that's fine. The promises that they made to themselves as well. I'm going to go to the gym, How many of you guys, you had this experience? I'm definitely going, this month I'm going to go to the gym every day. Because of laziness, I don't follow through, right? The same thing when it comes to what? Spirituality. Somehow this personality comes and what? Give me one more.
Addictions.
Ahsan, addictions to what?
There are so many things, social media is one of these.
Ahsan. Any addictions will keep me away from that important things. Ahsan, very good. Someone called me 2 days ago, a mother says my son is 13, 14, 16 hours video games continuously. "16 hours. Forget about cognitive issue, behavioral issue, physical issue, psychological issue. I mean, this mind is what? It's so careful with the whole video game things, right? It's so cognizant about okay, I'm going to study, I think about what? That game. I'm in the classroom, I think about it. He had issue with the classroom as well, with the study as well, right? Now we said video games, it's not only for teenagers. Let's go for adults. That can be, I want my bank account to be this big. I want that car. I want that house. I want this and that, The babies will cry for the toy, that fridge and that car that is a toy, and mom and dad are trying for the same toy, but it's bigger. Right? He's crying for the little car, dad is crying for the bigger car. He's saying, can you buy these things for me? And dad is saying the same thing. When this mind is busy with anything that distracts you or addiction against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's something dangerous. We'll break that promise. The first thing is I have to understand, muraqabah. Am I going to prioritize Allah in my life or my ego, my desires? Which one? Where am I going to go? Which one is the most important one? And understand that shaitan, even right now, and specifically when you actively take this path, every single corner of your life is ambushing, he's sitting and trying to find a way to distract you. He promised, remember in the Quran, he promised, فَبِعِزَّتِكَ, I swear to your dignity, Allah, that I will distract them. I will deviate them from the right path. And he's doing it. Right? He's doing it. When they said when someone doesn't have anything to lose, imagine there's a criminal outside, ran away from a prison, which tomorrow was supposed to be his last day of his life, right? They wanted to sentence him to death or something. If he is out, they might tell you he doesn't have anything to lose. Be very careful. Right? Shaitan doesn't have anything to lose. Be very careful. Now that he's going down, he wants to take everyone down with himself, right? My ego, my desires, it's not all about shaitan. It's about my desires as well, right? Remember, this is maybe be new to you. Your nafs, and specifically shaitan, doesn't want you to commit sin. It's not the ultimate goal for them. The ultimate goal, they want you to be against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They want you not to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Shaitan at the time of Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam, what happened? Shaitan of ins, human being. Remember, Iblis is the jinn that was kicked out of heaven. Shaitan, min al-jannati wal-nas, can be human being, and that the jinn one that you know is Iblis, right? So that shaitan, Umar al-Sa'd, the shaitan Ibn Ziyad, when he came to Kufa with 7 or 11 people, the first step that he told people was what? Make sure you don't go help Hussein. Make sure you don't help the ambassador of Imam Hussein, right? Ibn Aqil. And everyone says, that's okay. We're not killing Hussein. We're just not, going anywhere now. Then when they took this step, he says, what? Now you have to come and give me the oath of allegiance. They're like, if you don't come, either by force or threatening them or bribing them. And people was like, just oath of allegiance with him, that's fine. We're not going to kill Hussein, right? When they took this step, now you have to go be in the army against Hussein. They're like, we're not going to kill Hussein. We'll probably go to scare him. When they took this, now you have to kill him. Otherwise we will kill you. He wants you to kill the Imam of Asr. He doesn't want you just not to support Imam of Asr. You see what I'm saying? Shaitan wants the ultimate goal. His goal is what? Kufr and disbeliefs, blasphemy. That's what he's won. You know? That's why we should keep watching ourselves about this. That's what I told you before. That brother came from another country, Muslim country. He said he was very mu'min, from a very mu'min family. When I said mu'min family, you know, this level I'm saying. I told him, brother, be very careful. You came to this society, to this country. It's very dangerous. No, I'm Salat. A few years after he came to my office, he said, I am doubting this existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Help me, please. That's a threat for every single one of us, including myself. Wallahi. The one who says, no, that's the most dangerous feeling that it can have. Shaitan knows how to enter, right? Always start with what? Minor sins, minor issues. And it goes to the bigger one. Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, Ya Aba Dharr, la saghirata ma'al israr. If you keep insisting on any minor haram, it's not minor anymore. That's actually a major one. Get away from it. Be careful. One of the most, it's very interesting, in this path of getting closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and self-improvement, one of the most important issues and one of the most important recommendations on the other side from all Ahlul Bayt is to watch how you talk. That's amazing. They keep insisting and talking about, be careful, your tongue, be careful how it will put you down or it will help you. Or Luqman, they told him to bring, you slaughter the sheep. So now bring a best part and the worst part of it. He brought the heart and the tongue. Both days. They said, but yesterday you brought tongue and heart for the worst part, and today you brought them for the best part. He says, yes, they can be the best things for a human being and they can be the worst things, right? You should make sure you reach the level that anything you say will be for the satisfaction of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. At the moment that might be so difficult for me to think everything that I said, yeah. Remember when you were getting trained for your job? You had to watch and read the manual, you have to go through it to make sure you get used to this. Now you do everything without even looking at the manual, right? At the beginning you had to practice, but you don't have to practice because you already practice now and you know what to do. This should be always there for me, that what I'm saying is Allah. And that starts with where? Absolutely in the house. The first place that it starts with those people that usually there's no issue that however I talk to them. Go ahead.
I have a comment what you said, and I'd like to make it clear.
Go ahead.
People are saying that social media or games and all those things are bad. I think personally, excess of anything is wrong. Because the topic is awareness. You have to live in this world and you have to be aware what is going away around you. And social media, news, or even sport also, these are the things, because that's why we came into this world, to live in this world and be a good Muslim also at the
Very
same
good point.
time. Playing, if we have done salat or things like that, and if we are spending 10 minutes playing video game, I don't think that is wrong.
Very good.
But spending 16 hours, which is excess, this is wrong. Because Allah Ta'ala also doesn't want you to just keep praying day and night and go to jungle and forget your family. You have to live with your family and then be pious person.
Very good.
That is the thing.
Very good. Who is going to answer? Or any comments? Who agree? Who disagrees with what you heard?
No, we agree. It's a good
You
point.
agree?
Addiction means excessive, you know.
Any other comments? Anyone disagrees here?
That 10 minutes will go to 16 hours.
That 10 minutes goes to 16. He's saying that it's so dangerous, maybe that 10 minutes goes to 16 hours. What would you do?
No,
What is that filter that would help you? Let me tell you, that boy that mom calls me, he says, they tell me, Mom, 5 minutes. I promise 5 minutes. That 5 minutes becomes 5 hours.
the same hook for ibadat also, that we are not supposed to pray 24 hours and for
Anything that is excessive, you mentioned yourself, that is wrong. Okay? That is wrong. But how about someone comes and says, just a little bit of opium? That's not too much. Just a little bit. And I'm so powerful and I control myself and I exercise every day. What would you say?
No, anything legal you can spend.
And then we go to definition of legal, not legal, okay or not okay, right? Your point are definitely correct. There's nothing, we're not disputing that. Definitely anything is good. Playing and game and everything, that's fine. But anything that becomes distraction, that's not okay anymore. That's the definition. In this path, if it is a distraction, that's not healthy. If it's to the level that helps me to get closer to this goal, that's actually good. You're right. We have to go out, we have to have fun, and that's Islam is saying. Rasulullah and Amir al-Mu'minin, many times they went out there together, have fun, you know.
Supporting his argument, Imam Ali's hadith is that you divide your day into 3 parts. So you know that too. One part you're earning, one is for Allah,
Ahsan.
and one is for you yourself.
Ahsan.
You yourself, when brother said, when you said that 24 hours ibadat is not only prayer.
Ahsan.
A lot of charity work is also ibadat.
Very good point. Very good point.
So in that Imam Ali's hadith, that 1/3 of the day is for you yourself, stay away from the haram things, and staying within those limitations. If you want to play some cricket, I think there shouldn't be any problem.
Very interesting point, you know. No one practically is saying worship Allah 24 hours by praying. But when you are spending time with your family, you're about doing ibadah. When you are playing, you're doing ibadah. When you're sleeping in Ramadan, what we would say? When you're sleeping, that's ibadah as well. That's possible. But anything that it ends up in being a distraction, that's what we have to do.
Yeah, that is the challenge, that you have to have a self-control. Do the thing, but you have to have self. Otherwise, it will be difficult for us to bring our children and say, hey, what is in your religion?
You just hit the nail.
Don't do.
Self-control.
Self-control.
The whole thing is for that self-control we're talking about.
That goes to your topic of self-awareness. You are supposed to be aware that if you're going to take a little bit of opium, that's the awareness you need. Is it allowed, or is it going to push you towards into the deeper sand? So awareness, that's where the awareness comes. So stay away from opium, those kind of things. But minor
You're
things.
telling him?
No.
So there's something going on. You're just like,
That was your example. So that,
good point.
that comes under the umbrella of
Ahsan.
awareness.
This self-control you're talking about, that self-awareness that we're talking about. I have to understand so far what keeps me away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Go ahead.
Is bothering me, like, so let's say if you're a physician or a counselor or an engineer, the society that we are living in, it's not possible for us to segregate ourselves and make it gender bias free. So, and have all those gender biases basically. When I'm taking a customer call, to me it doesn't matter if I'm talking to a girl or a guy. I'm just doing my work, sitting on my cubicle. Likewise, if you're a doctor, you can't say that, oh, you know what, I'm just going to take female patients. No male patients here. So how do we resolve this situation?
That's a good point. Part of it goes to the fiqh topic, you know, what are our... Part of it, if we want to talk from this perspective, anything that is against the recommendation of Allah, no matter how much is rooted into my lifestyle, that's what we're talking about. We have to get away from it. Anything, you know, and remember, it starts from minor things, you know. Any of those type of relationship, even in Hollywood movies, you see that. Non-okay relationships between boys and girls. Let's start with, can I have your, paper? Can I have your thing? I missed today. Can you help me somehow? Can I just invite you for a drink or something? It starts from very minor. Anything that is against the recommendation of Allah, that it goes to the path of halal and haram technically, right? Anything of those things that are wrong, I have to keep running away from them, right? That can be, oh my God, this is so rooted, I need it. I mean, I don't know, but if it's against the path of Allah, right? Someone was working in a definitely not okay environment, you know, and it's like, but Said, I need this job. I'm talking about, was working in a bar. I need this. I mean, like, what do you want me to tell you? If it's against, you don't know this much, that Allah is the one who provides the rizq for you. If you leave this, He's not going to leave you alone. You did it for the sake of Him. If you do it for the sake of your dad yourself, he's going to somehow compensate you. He's not going to leave you. Now you don't believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that you leave it for the sake of Allah, He's going to provide it for you. That's how shaitan comes, right? Therefore, is anything, if it's against this path, the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if anything goes to the side of haram, that's what I have to really think about that.
So basically, if you're attending a customer meeting, and for males as well, what if the customer is a female? Is it haram to talk to them because
You're female?
So,
I mean, you're saying female.
So I have one of our Muslim brothers and a non-Muslim brother get into a call, a professional customer call or a meeting with a female. Now we don't know the customer is going to be a male or a female. We are just designated that this is the customer account to conduct this meeting.
Yeah. Again, like I said, it's a fiqhi things that it says that much that is needed to be talked about, as much as it's done, that's it. No more talk, right? Like even it goes to the fiqhi things, this depends on what is the purpose, what you're doing, how much is needed, what else is going on, and all those things. Sometimes, yes, I have to, this is my job, answer someone, that's it, job is done, okay, Khuda Hafiz, that's it. But sometimes that it goes on and on. Now after the job, now we're talking about the customer, extra customer care, after customer care, after, that comes, after and after something, So and then leads to something else. But if it's, Islam says, if it's that much necessary, but that self-control should come as well. Because some people says, oh, that is necessary as well. I have to convince them to buy these things, That's that much, then that's how it goes to the topic of halal and haram that we have to understand. All right, we don't have that much time. Actually, we passed time, right? ما يلفظ من قول إلا لديه رقيب عتيد. Not a single word is uttered by anyone, but definitely there is someone who is watching them, near them. Whatever you say, this is Allah says, whatever you say, we're watching you. It's better you watch yourself as well, right? Muraqabah. It's better you watch yourself. Otherwise, those angels that are there to, write down all those things that you do during the day, they're watching for you. They're watching you and they're writing them down. You better watch yourself as well. So to help them, the one that he is writing better, so those things, hasanat, he will do more as well. But remember that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching you all the time. Watching your actions towards halal and haram. The best definition, the simplest definition or help here is that halal and haram. Follow only thing what Islam says. This is okay, I'll do it. This is not okay, I won't do it, right? Sometimes it goes to, how about this way? How about that way? I'm going to somehow justify it for myself. I have to get away from it. Specifically when it comes to the time of salat. I have to be very, very careful because this is one of those things Shaitan very nicely would distract me. But I have to do it. How about I don't pray at my job if it's Anwal Waqt? I still have time, I go home, I'll pray. You're right. We still have time. But what would make you to delay it? Because I don't want people to know I'm Muslim, or I don't want them to see that I'm praying, or I'm shy to pray in front of them. All these excuses might come, right? And then we're talking about the whole path here. How much I'm going to get to self-improvement, how much I'm going to get to Allah, closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? All those filters come. Shaitan comes and somehow would justify it, What if it's this way? What if it's that way? What if it's dangerous? What if it's... what if? However... no pain, no gain. It costs. Specifically, we have traditions about watching your salat. Ayatollah Bahjat, rahmatullah alayhi, I think he said that he asked about his ustad, or Ayatollah Qadi, rahmatullah alayhi, the ustad, the teacher of Ayatollah Allama Tabatabai, the author of Tafsir al-Mizan, right? Ayatollah Qadi, he was one of those that, it's good to tell you. In his salat, he saw an angel coming in front of him. She's presenting herself to him. And he didn't pay attention to the angel. After salat, he was a little bit upset. What if I didn't pay attention to the creature of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And he asked his ustad about this. And he says, yeah, you might see some of these things. Just don't pay attention to them. Keep yourself focusing on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in your salat. What they were saying, what I can see, right? In the salat, right? What I was going to say, I told you, he's Ustad Ibn Ghazi, I think he said that. He said what? He said, if you pray on time, and you don't reach the highest level of ubudiyyah and getting closer to Allah, come and curse me. Come and curse me. Only with salat on time. And then I saw a video clip from Ayatollah Bacha. They asked him, oh, you're saying salat on time with tawajjuh and khulus to Allah? He says, no. If you do that, that's going to be the salat of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Just salat on time. Allahu Akbar. If you pray, I mean it's all time, 5 times, not just Fajr minus Fajr. No, all time, If you pray on time, if you don't get to the levels that others are not at that level, come and curse us. Allahu Akbar. Come and curse us. That's amazing, right? But a challenge. 40 days I promised myself. I'm going to challenge myself. You do it yourself too. 40 days. 40 days, say all your salat on time from tomorrow. Put it in your calendar. See how many days you can. It will help you to go through this path as well. At the beginning, promise, at the beginning of the day, and then watch yourself, shout, and promise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But this is one of the important. I finish with this. Group of people says, when we were with Rasulullah, we were sitting with him, right? We were talking to him, his companion. He says, as soon as that was the time of salah, it looked like he doesn't know us and we don't know him. Everything changed. You were just talking to us, we were so in a topic. As soon as the salat comes, all topics were gone, distracted, nothing, let's go pray.
Those Wahhabis do the salat more than us on time, and look their actions, what they're doing, killing people.
Very good point.
Since then now.
Very good.
Also. So I think it is good to pray on time, but it is good to pray at least.
What if someone who is not Muslim pray on time? So if they don't have a base, if they don't have the minimum requirement, it doesn't work for you. What if someone studies hard every day, 5 hours, but he didn't register into the university? Do they give him a degree? No. What if someone is better than all the students in Harvard? They don't give him any degree. They are not. Shemr, Ibn Muljam, how about them, right? What's that? When the whole foundation has issue, we're talking about the whole foundation here, right? If the whole foundation has issue, if their perception about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if the salat that they're praying for something else it is, right? So we're talking about the minimum thing should be okay, right? The minimum iman should be okay, that salat would elevate.
So praying on time by itself is not the main thing. Praying on time with the rest of the necessities, that is the big.
No, we're talking about minimum. Minimum as who you are, mashallah. That's it. You believe in Allah, you believe in the core beliefs of Islam. That's the minimum that we all have, alhamdulillah. That's it. But do they really have it?
I think they believe in Allah.
Yeah, but the beliefs really, it's different, That's why we have to question that part, Yeah, because it says, in the salat tanha anil fahsha. Amir al-Mu'mineen, when he prays, they pull out the arrow from it, right?
You were very regular.
Say it again.
The Khawarij.
Khawarij?
Very regular up to the point of Salatul Layl as well.
Yeah. And they were cursing Amir al-Mu'mineen as well. How about that? Still doing it. And then they killed 6 old, baby in over there as well. So is it Islam that you're talking about, the minimum? I don't think this. Is this following, in a minimum way, following Rasulullah? I don't think so. Because it's totally against Rasulullah, right? And not saying that, later on I will tell you that some other parts in the fiqh situation might be not okay as well. Alright, so far I thought I can finish the whole, steps today, but I couldn't. So inshallah we'll continue with muhasabah next session, inshallah, next Thursday. But remember so far with what we talked about, the topic of muraqabah, that we have to, that shahad and promise that we made with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we have to watch ourselves throughout the day and inshallah follow it. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammadin wa ajil farajahum. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah, give us tawfiq and opportunity and hasten in the du'ur of Abu Imam Mahdi. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, help all of us, anyone in this world, in this path, to be able to get closer to you and to be able to get away from anything that is against your path and your recommendations. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, do not let any of our children and ourselves be against the path of Islam and Ahlul Bayt.